Sometimes all it takes is one single, violent moment on a busy street to tear apart a massive geopolitical alliance. Today, we're going deep on one of those moments, the Raymond Davis affair. This was a crisis that brought the fragile partnership between the U.S. and Pakistan, right in the middle of the war on terror, to the absolute brink of collapse.
And just so you know where we're coming from, this entire explainer is built on the fantastic analysis from the Institute of South Asian Studies at the National University of Singapore. It gives us a really solid, clear-eyed view of what was an incredibly messy and complicated international incident.
All right, so let's set the scene. We're in Lahore, Pakistan. It's January 26th, 2011. A day that started out completely normal, but was about to send shockwaves all the way to Washington, D.C. and back. And I want you to picture this. This doesn't happen in some shadowy back alley. Nope. We're talking broad daylight on a packed street, people everywhere. And that totally ordinary setting is what makes what happens next so jarring. Then, boom, it happens. An American, a guy named Raymond Davis, shoots and kills two young Pakistani men who are on motorcycles. He immediately surrenders to the police, and just like that, what was a shooting on a city street becomes a massive international crisis.
So how in the world did this one incident ignite such a huge firestorm? Well, because it was never just about a crime. It was about national sovereignty. It was about secret spy games. And it was about the incredibly strange relationship between two countries that were supposed to be allies.
This quote from our source material really just hits the nail on the head. The whole saga totally exposed the impossible position Pakistan was in, trying to be a key U.S. ally while dealing with a public at home that was growing more and more anti-American by the day.
So who exactly was this Raymond Davis guy? Well, at first, the story seemed pretty straightforward. He was an American, he said it was self-defense, and this is the crucial part, he claimed he had diplomatic immunity. But oh boy, the story got complicated fast. Because it turned out he wasn't your typical diplomat. He was actually a CIA contractor running covert operations. And that revelation absolutely infuriated Pakistan's powerful military and their intelligence agency, the ISI, who were already convinced the CIA was running unauthorized missions all over their country. And yeah, that just set these two countries on a collision course. What came next was this incredible, high-stakes diplomatic standoff where neither side felt like they could possibly back down. Just look at how impossible this situation was for both sides. The US drew a hard line. Davis is a diplomat, he's covered by the Vienna Convention, release him now. President Obama got involved personally. They even threatened to cut off billions in aid. But for Pakistan, it was a total nightmare. The public was demanding Davis be tried in their courts. His diplomatic status was, let's just say, unclear, and their own military was furious. There was no easy answer for anyone. So what you have to get is that this all played out in public. It became a test of wills. Both governments dug in their heels, because any compromise would have looked like a massive, humiliating defeat. But while all that was happening on the surface, behind the scenes, there were some absolutely frantic negotiations going on at the highest levels. And that brings us to the most fascinating part of this whole story. The solution didn't come from international law books. It didn't come from some clever diplomatic compromise. No, it came from a completely different legal tradition that offered an unexpected, and I mean really unexpected, way out. I mean, you've got to ask, right? The courts are gridlocked, the diplomats are getting nowhere. How do you solve an impossible problem without just blowing everything up?
Well, the answer came from a concept in Islamic Sharia law called diya. You might know it as blood money. Basically, it's a provision that allows a crime, even a serious one like murder, to be pardoned by the victim's family if they agree to accept financial compensation and offer forgiveness. It was this totally unconventional but legal escape hatch.
And we're not talking about a small amount of money here. The total compensation paid to the families of the two men was $2.3 million US. This payment was literally the key that was going to unlock this entire crisis. And once that deal was accepted, man, things moved at lightning speed. On March 16th, the families went to court and officially forgave Davis. The court immediately acquitted him. And then, just hours later, Raymond Davis was on a plane out of Pakistan and on his way home. The crisis was over. Or was it? To really get why this bizarre solution was even an option, you have to look at the cold, hard logic of how countries really operate. This whole affair was a masterclass in what they call realpolitik, where practical needs and national interests just steamroll everything else. You see, the stakes were just way too high for either country to walk away. Pakistan relied on the U.S. for everything from advanced weapons to billions in economic aid. But at the same time, the U.S. desperately needed Pakistan as a base and partner for the war next door in Afghanistan. They were totally locked in this state of mutual dependence. So in the end, it didn't matter what the lawyers said about diplomatic immunity. It wasn't about who was legally right. It was about what was practically necessary to keep this critical, if broken, relationship from completely falling apart. But here's the kicker, and this is the most important takeaway. They found a solution that ended the immediate crisis, but it didn't resolve any of the deep-seated problems that caused it. And that fallout, well, it would linger for a long, long time. So check out this timeline, it says it all. March 16th, Raymond Davis is freed. The U.S. gets its man back. You can imagine the sigh of relief in Washington. But then, the very next day, March 17th, U.S. drone strikes inside Pakistan, which had been paused during all of this, started right back up again. For Pakistan, this was just a massive slap in the face. And the backlash was immediate and fierce. Pakistan's army chief, General Kayani, went public, condemning the attack as a human rights violation that was actually hurting the fight against terrorism. Any shred of goodwill that might have been built up, gone, overnight. And this really sums up the mess that was left behind. That core legal question about contractors and immunity, never answered. The Pakistani government got hammered at home for looking weak. Anti-American feelings in the country went through the roof. And that deep, corrosive distrust between the CIA and the ISI, it was worse than ever. So it leaves us with this final, really big question to think about. They found a solution, a clever fix to an impossible problem. But when the interests of nations collide with this much force, what's the real long-term price you pay for a solution that papers over the cracks but doesn't actually fix anything?